in Ontario. Brilliance by Canada.
Miller can play this long now. Anakubi in behind. Ball holds up. He's going to take it himself. Sam Anakubi in alone!
But can they get the job done when it matters most? When a trophy awaits the victor? The king needs a crown. It's there for the taking. The battle is next on One Soccer. For the first time in 23 years, Canada is playing for a trophy. Tonight marks John Herdman's 55th game behind the men's national team bench. And for the first time, it's in a final. Tonight also marks the last game of Atiba Hutchinson's career. He starts on the bench, but his leadership has been felt all week long. The Maple Leaf goes head-to-head with the Stars and Stripes inside Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. And we're getting you ready for the showdown right here on One Soccer. Hello, everybody. Welcome inside Allegiant Stadium. Manny Petrillo alongside Christian Jack. We are pitch side. And happy Father's Day to everyone who celebrates. You know, there are a lot of fathers on this squad, KJ. We know what gift will make them happy. Yeah. What would a trophy mean for this squad, for this federation, for this fan base?
Well, it would mean a ton. You know, I'm looking here, we can see some of the fan base right behind us here, the Voyageurs who've made the long trip out here to Las Vegas. It's a special time for them. Many of them have followed this program for many decades, hoping for moments like this. You alluded to it. You know, it's been 23 years since Canada's able to lift the trophy. They played the US 40 times and never played them in a final. These moments are very unique. These moments are very special. In sports, that's what makes lifting trophies incredibly special and powerful, because of those times that really are spent so much time in between. So I think this is a time right now for this group of players to believe that they can belong here on this pitch, playing in finals and going out there and earning it and winning something of real meaning.
They want to prove they belong. By the way, once again, driving up to the stadium, not one single Canadian flag was being sold by any of the vendors. John Herdman, I said it, this is his 55th match. He owns 2 Olympic bronze medals with the Canadian women's national team. His first game, KJ, was March 24th, 2018 with the men. What does this mean for him? What does this even mean for the careers of his players?
Well, let's take John Herdman first. I think this is a particularly very big game for John Herdman, because, of course, we all know that when you evaluate progress, you know, the amount of work that he's done with the team is obvious, and the progress that they've come from. But I think now, when you look at the group of players that you alluded to, you know, you look at Alphonso Davies playing under Tuchel or Nagelsmann, right? You look at Fonseca coaching David. You look at Sergio Conceição, you know, with Eustáquio, and Postecoglou with Johnston. You know, elite-level talent being coached by elite-level managers. And I think these players now are looking for someone like John Herdman to say, we understand the motivation, we understand all of your skill sets, the communication, the detail orientation, and how close he is to that is important. Now we need your help in the biggest moments. And this is a big moment, undoubtedly. You know, some would say that they didn't have a great World Cup, and I think that would be true. But I think now is the moment where those players will look to lean on John Herdman to say, how do you help us get over the ability to try and win a game like this against a powerhouse like the United States in Concacaf?
Well, you call them a powerhouse. I've been asking you all weekend long if the Canadians are favorites. A lot of people are tempering expectations here. So then I'll ask you this. If we can agree that they're underdogs, are they sizable underdogs?
No, absolutely not. Not for me. Now, John Herdman said something interesting in the press conference where he said that the United States had a significant talent advantage, sizable, over everybody else. He went on to say that the US has 17 Tier 1 players, Canada has 3. I don't agree with that. I think I'd rather have players playing in the Champions League, like Eustáquio and Buchanan, if they're not in a Tier 1 league, than playing on the bench at Crystal Palace. I'd rather have a player playing for Celtic in an enormous club like that, winning trebles. So I don't think that they are sizable underdogs. They're playing the underdog card for a reason. That being said, the United States know how to win. They just know how to win. And they're a very talented group. We're going to get into the players who aren't there later. But that's what Canada is the difference. Canada know they believe they belong here now. Now they have to show it. This is the moment where you go from pretenders to real contenders, and then you win things. And this is the moment that is a special moment for Canada today. And to answer your question, no, they're not favorites by any measuring stick, bookmakers, anybody in this building. But if they do not win tonight, it won't be a case of, oh, David beat Goliath. It'll be a case of major disappointment and not getting an opportunity when it was presented to them.
We have a lot to get into as we set you up for this final between Canada and the United States. We're here inside Allegiant Stadium. Let's send it inside the One Soccer studio with Adam Jenkins.
Well, thank you very much, Andy, and happy Father's Day to you, KJ. Happy Father's Day to these two gentlemen to my left, Jimmy Brennan, the Gold Cup winner, Jordan Wilson as well. They just talked about underdogs, and I'm going to pick both of your brains in a moment. But Alistair Johnston was asked the very same question. Let's see what the Canadian center back had to say.
Look, we know that we're going to be underdogs against a really talented U.S. squad, but at the same time, we've had some joy against them in recent times, and, we feel really confident with our group that, we have the talent, we have the ability to get the job done. Of course, I don't think they're going to take us lightly. So no, it'll be a difficult match, of course, playing here in the U.S. to their home crowd. But no, it's a challenge that we're ready for, and at the end of the day, it's a final. Everyone's up for it. We're excited, and we're playing for something even bigger than that. This is Atiba Hutchinson, our greatest player, greatest men's player ever. This is his last match. So there's something even bigger on the line for us here in this match as well. Of course.
The eloquent and always insightful Alistair Johnston. So, gentlemen, underdogs. We understand that this is a big moment for Canada, big opportunity for Canada. We've asked the question, and we will ask the question, are they ready? Can they do it? But just on paper, Jimmy, I know it's impossible to take that crest off your chest here for a moment, but if you were totally unbiased, would you say Canada are the underdogs here or not?
No, I wouldn't. Not at all. I think they had a fantastic qualifying, won the group, got to a World Cup. Now they're in a final to win a championship. So for me, no, they're not the underdogs. These are two very good footballing teams, but they're definitely not the underdogs for me.
If you're looking at USA and the way they play and the players that they have, and you look at Canada and the way that we play and the players that we have, Canada is not an underdog.
No.
The only way you're comparing the underdog is about history, the fact that Canada hasn't won anything since this handsome man lifted a Gold Cup 23 years ago when he was young and sprightly. Now,
cantankerous and slightly less sprightly.
But look, this is a team that can go and do it. That's the only bit you're saying underdog, but this is going to be an even game. I think Canada's ready to take it.
I think also, let's keep in mind that throughout Concacaf, there's one team that nobody wants to play. It's Canada.
100%.
So we're not the underdogs. There's no chance. I can't accept that.
Can't accept it, won't accept it. How about this then? Let's talk about the match itself, because any sports fan in Canada, doesn't matter if it's water polo or synchronized swimming, it doesn't matter. If there's any kind of competition, Canada, USA, that's all the juice that you need. Jimmy, you've played in these neighborly rivalries, whatever, if there's a derby name that we can eventually get to, but what is it about playing against the US that boils the blood a little bit more, gets you all the more amped? Just put us in the minds of those players right now.
Well, look, it's our noisy neighbors to the south. It's a country that we always want to beat. Regardless what sport you're playing, we always want to compete and we always want to beat the Americans. And when you're playing these games now, they become emotional. The games are a lot more physical. When you do go into your 50-50s, you tend to go in with a little bit more aggression in your play. But they're exciting games, and these are the games that you love to play. In football, you want to play top games, passionate games, and games that mean something. And this is all about pride right now for this young Canadian team.
I think history plays a huge part into it as well. I think 20 years back, you're looking, if you're from Canada, you play hockey. I think this is one of those things where, we actually play football. We play great football as well. Tired of being the little brother. This is a night tonight for the boys to be like, we're on top, and we can get the better of the USA.
And even more than that, the fact that for the first time, at least with these two programs, playing for a major final against the arch rivals to the south, the noisy neighbors, is that what you call them, Jimmy?
Noisy neighbors
the noisy neighbors to the south from Jimmy Brennan. Time for a quick break. On the other side, we will introduce you to the teams, and if there was any doubt before why Canada should not be viewed as the underdogs, well, John Herdman's starting 11 will tell you why. This is Matchday Live, presented by CIBC. Las Vegas, Nevada, home of Allegiant Stadium, home of the 2023 Concacaf Nations League Final. It is Canada, it is the United States. Here is the Canadian gaffer, John Herdman, on the matchup.
Coach, the opportunity to Canada's first trophy in 23 years, what would it mean?
Well, it means a lot to the players, to the country. I think more importantly, it'll make a statement just how far the program's come and all the hard work that's gone in behind the scenes to get us here.
What do you need to do, your team needs to do tonight to make that happen?
Just be together from start to finish. You know, that first game, it was our first time back for a while, limited training sessions. So we have to get tighter, that's for sure. This US team is arguably the best US team I've seen, and we'll be tested. So if we stay together, I think we'll be fine.
And a special night also for Atiba.
Oh, amazing. I mean, still pretty emotional. You know, we've just had our team meeting, and you know, to know that he's not going to be in them anymore, it's sad, but exciting as well, because there's just a real opportunity to send him out the right way and get our hands on the trophy for him. Thank you.
John Herdman covering a lot of ground, including Atiba Hutchinson's last dance. He is on the bench today. Canada lines up in a 3-5-2 with 3 changes to the starting 11. Scott Kennedy in for Stephen Vittoria at center back. Jonathan Osorio is in to the midfield, and Alphonso Davies on the left side. That also means Tajon Buchanan will start this match on the bench. For instant reaction to the starting 11 brought to you by GE Appliances, we head back to Allegiant Stadium with Andy and KJ.
All right, thank you, Jenkins. Well, let's begin with Alphonso Davies in that game against Panama. Doesn't start, comes in the 61st minute, scores in the 70th. But what kind of boost does he give to Canada now that he starts?
Yeah, undoubtedly looked like he was in great form. You know, didn't look like a player that missed, you know, almost the best part of 2 months with that hamstring injury. So I think what we like to see with Alphonso Davies tonight is, in a game of this magnitude, he's playing in what I think is his best position. You know, and I don't think we saw anywhere near the best version of Alphonso Davies in Qatar. You know, different places in position, playing right wing, at one point right wing back, started at left wing back, then he's playing further forward. I think now there's a clear identity that will help him. As I said the other night when we were here, the goal he scored, where he's able to take the ball and then run into it and hit that ball, you know, very quickly from the pass from Jonathan David. It's his position where he plays mostly in the clubs, and I think in this way we can get better, we can get the best Alphonso rather than being a little bit more frustrating and not necessarily controlled in a game like this.
Let's talk Jonathan David, because he does pick up a goal and an assist, opened up the scoring in the game. He was the 3rd leading goal scorer in Ligue 1 this year. So many rumors about where he could end up next. We also know that he has 25 goals for country. Kyle Larin, who leads the men, have 28. This guy can find the back of the net, but how significant is this game for him?
Well, there's some people who think he didn't have a very good World Cup. I was never in that camp. I thought he had a difficult game against Belgium, but getting in those spaces, and his as usual, his movement and his work off the ball was, I think, underrated. Look, I'll say this, there's a lot of talk here tonight about Christian Pulisic, a lot of talk about Balogun, an enormous cheer for Alphonso Davies. For me, Jonathan David right now is the best player playing in this game, right now in current form. And if I was to pick one player on my team tonight and they all lined up in 22, I'd pick him. That's who I would pick. This is a game for him right now. This is a player in enormous, tremendous form. Left foot, right foot, one-touch finishing, ability to score with his head. And this is a game that I think can make Jonathan David become finally the superstar in Canada that no one knows.
You just brought me back to the schoolyard and not wanting to get picked last. Thanks, KJ.
Me too.
Different formation. Osorio goes in. We already saw the changes there. What do you make of him going in? What do you make of what Herdman is trying to do with this formation and this lineup against the U.S.?
I think it's cautious. It's very hard to leave a player like Tajon Buchanan out with that pace and the ability to just have a real, I think, the real tenacity down the wing that I think would terrify the defense. I think if the United States look at that lineup, I think they're happy Buchanan's not playing. But I also know why Osorio's playing. And it's not just to make up the numbers in midfield and in possession, of course, to get that pitch control and to establish the possession. But I think you have to look at it from a defensive point of view. Osorio will track over to the left-hand side, and for Canada, the right-hand side for the US, which is terrifying. You know, you've got Reyna breaking away, you've got Weah, you can have Scally joining it. That right-hand side tore Mexico apart here 3 days ago. And Alphonso Davies, I don't think will be trusted enough on his own to handle that. They've got a big break with Serginho Dest not playing, but Osorio can make up those numbers defensively in those key areas. I think, as I said, it's cautious, but I understand it. The depth is not there for Canada that it is there for the United States. And if they can play the game in parts, in sections of 20, 30 minutes, then hopefully they'll still be in this contest when Buchanan's on the field.
All right, well, let's break down this lineup a little bit more as we send it back to studio. Jenkins.
Thank you, Andy. Yes, lots to talk about from John Herdman's 11, gentlemen, and someone I want to speak a little bit more of. KJ obviously brought it up. The U.S., in his eyes, happy that Tajon Buchanan starts this match on the bench. Jordan, what do you think of the decision to drop him and how Canada might react? Because for many people, he was Canada's best player at the World Cup.
I think looking at Tajon starting on the bench is something where you need an X factor coming onto the game in the 60th minute. You need fresh legs, similar to how Alphonso Davies came in against Panama. Yes, tactically, you can say Osorio can control the game and this and that, but I would disagree with KJ in the fact that having Buchanan come off the bench, Scally or Robinson or whoever the USA have cannot handle the pace, and when Tajon picks his head up and runs at someone 1v1, I am petrified. He can take on anyone on this pitch. I think he can change the game if he's coming on later.
No, I agree with you. You know, are the Americans happy that Buchanan's not playing? No. Have they seen Richie Laryea? Richie Laryea, he's rapid down the line. He's such a clever player, and he creates opportunities for people in and around the box. But you're right, though, it gives fresh legs, and it gives a different dynamic when Buchanan comes on, especially maybe around that 60th, 70th minute mark. But for me, no, listen, I think he's got his tactics right.
Well, a lot of players still on the pitch that will make a difference for Canada. We obviously just saw Jonathan David warming up for the team as well. Jordan, I want to go to the defense and ask you about Scott Kennedy, because that's another one. Stephen Vittoria, it could be a matter of John Herdman not thinking he can go back-to-back 90 minutes. Also get a bit more, significantly more speed, no offense to Stephen Vittoria, but at this stage of his career, what do you make of that move?
Yeah, just a bit more mobility. And also when you're thinking about the future, that Kennedy could be that guy to step up. I thought he had a great performance March 28th when they played against Honduras. Last at BMO Field. I thought he was assertive. I thought he kept the game in front of him. I thought he had that balance of being aggressive but also clever. Tonight's going to be a big test as well, because I think what the USA do well is similar to what Canada does well, is when they get in behind, they get Weah, they get Pulisic, they get players like that going forward. They have to be able to stay in the battle tonight, Canada, and you're going to need someone, Kennedy being in the spine and in the middle, controlling that back line.
Yeah. Absolutely, I agree with him. He said it all.
Jordan did so well that I have nothing further to add.
This is Matt Gafford, man. He taught me everything. He said, no, this is how you're supposed to play. He's like, yes, he's ready to go tonight. Let's put him in.
I think that means you get this UEFA Pro license if you've already completed the course.
That's perfect, man.
All right, well, we'll talk about the Americans when we come back, and there is a lot to talk about because it was absolute and utter chaos in their semifinal against Mexico. The American would win by 3-0, but are without Weston McKennie and Serginho Dest. We will discuss the Stars and Stripes when we come back to Matchday Live, brought to you by CIBC. Well, a wild few days for the United States of America, no doubt about it, including B.J. Callahan. And yes, it is still B.J. Callahan at the helm, despite Greg Berhalter being officially rehired. That's a conversation for another day. Let's focus on the players. Evening. Walker Zimmerman, Joe Scally, and Brendan Aronson are the three changes for the U.S. in their 4-3-3. Of course, McKennie and Dest suspended. Miles Robinson is dropped to the bench. Once again, we head back to Vegas, Andy and KJ to break down the Americans team. Andy and KJ to break down the Americans team.
Thank you, Adam. Well, as you said there, so no Weston McKennie, no Serginho Dest. They both got red carded in that game against Mexico. It ended up being 9v9 at the end of it, so you could tell that was a very heated match. And, you know, they did try U.S. Soccer to appeal McKennie's red card. They were not successful, so they're out. What does the USA miss in these two players, given, you know, where they play? You have McKennie, Juventus, was on loan to Leeds United. You have Dest, Barcelona, playing with AC Milan. These are some significant players.
Yeah, no question about it. First of all, you missed two players out of four who would have played who were in the final 2 years ago in Colorado as well. McKennie was instrumental in the United States being the current holders of this competition. He personally, on his own, drove that team in the second half, scored a wonderful goal from a corner. I refer to him as the US's Mr. Brightside. That's what he's like. He's just an absolute live wire who drives the team forward. Watching him live in the World Cup, there'll be a big miss. I think having Aronson come in is a bold move, and I like it from the United States point of view. There's a lot of difference makers on that pitch now. They could have gone a bit safer with De La Torre. They picked Aronson. Dest is a big loss for them as well. As I said, Alphonso Davies brings tremendous strength on the ball, but it was shown in the World Cup that there's an element of doubt from the Canadian national team coaching staff about making sure that he can defend in that position against top-class fullbacks. Whether they're right in that or not, that's a fact. They didn't trust him against Hakimi. So they don't get Dest, they get Scally. It's I think a big plus for the United States in terms of getting, obviously, the players on the pitch, Aronson, but not a good one for them in terms of losing Dest. So, look, this is a United States team that are very young, but very talented. Musa's still only 20, Reyna's still only 20, and they're playing at a wonderful rate in Europe as well. So there's a lot to like them. I know in Canada the trendy thing is to dislike the United States, Andy, but we should look on with envious eyes and wanting to be like this federation because they do a lot of things right, and the development of these players I think has come a long way. I go back to that game at BMO Field in 2019 when Canada won 2-0 at that point as we have a ball kicked into the set. They won 2-0 that night, Canada, and it was a turning point for Canada in a positive way. It was a turning point for the US in a negative way as well. And they cut a lot of those players. They've moved into a new generation. They got to the last 16 at the World Cup with Pulisic being tremendous for them. And now they're here again trying to win another trophy, which I think will be their 8th in the last 15 years.
My reflexes, by the way, are on a 7-second delay as well. But nobody got hurt, thankfully. Okay, so no Mr. Brightside, but how about Captain America? You're just talking about him, Christian Pulisic. Now, he was very honest after that game against Mexico. He said he was disappointed and that he wished his teammates did keep a cooler head because he knows what it means to be missing those two players. But he's somebody who got a brace. Sorry, I just saw another ball there. He's somebody who got a brace against Mexico. Do you think he's finding his form here with the national team? Because we know the struggles with Chelsea.
Yes, definitely. The other thing, too, is that if we think some of the Canadian players and some of the Canadian staff members think the media scrutiny is tough in Canada, you want to spend a day in this guy's shoes. Because Pulisic faces up to every press conference, gets criticized heavily by sometimes the outlaws who are here, the fan base, the media. It can be ruthless. That's what football culture's about, win, lose or draw. He steps up every time. He's a tremendous leader for this national team that's carried on in the wake of Landon Donovan being that way. And now technically, he's an outstanding footballer. He keeps the ball very close in the dribble to himself. He's a combination player. He likes to play quick 1-2s, and he can drift into space, and he's very, very positive, always looking to go forward. Games like this are made for him as well, and as he said, he carried his team. I thought he was marvelous against Mexico. When others lost their head, he kept his cool, and he'll look to do the same again here to try and lift this trophy for the US.
All right, for more on this USA squad, let's head back into studio, guys.
Yeah, keep your heads on a swivel out there, guys. I know both of our strikers are in form, so those aren't accidents. They are aiming for you at this point, so we'll get you a helmet for the next block. Jimmy, I know you want to go quickly on the two players who are not going to play for Dest and McKennie, just also the stage and what they're missing out tonight.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's absolutely ridiculous. And if you're the manager of the American team right now, you'd be fuming because you've got two key players that have missed a game because they've played with not controlled emotions. They let the occasion get the better of them. You're 2-0 up and you get sent off of that just because you were getting agitated and players are getting under your skin, and they need to be more professional. And that's one thing where I think the Canadians are going to have a mental advantage here, because we do play with controlled emotions. You looked at the two semi-final games, there was 5 red cards, none for the Canadians. So for me, it's a mental advantage going into this match today, because we do play with controlled emotions.
And Jordan, on the players who will be there tonight, obviously there's a lot of talk about the depth that the United States continue to amass. They get a cap tie now for Balogun. Just how much more dangerous are they with Flo as an American?
Yeah, Balogun, the Arsenal boy who was on Lotus Stade Reims in Ligue 1. I try my best to do the French.
Say that again.
But look, yeah, a mouthful, right? 21 goals in 37 matches. This guy's dangerous in and around the box, but he's that threat that can go vertical, right? Left foot, right foot, with his head. He doesn't need much time or space to get a shot off. So I think tonight, Kennedy, that back line just needs to be tight on him and just make the game difficult. A bit of old school, right, Gaff? I just think not letting him turn, give him a few lumps. Of course, clean fouls or clean tackles, but just make him know that he's in a game real early.
Yeah, they need to be physical with him tonight. They can't give him half a yard. Half a yard, he's going to take advantage of that. They got to make sure that they let him know that he's in a match tonight and nothing's going to be for free.
There's no doubt that his debut for the U.S. was full of surprises and lessons in the dark arts of Concacaf. Officially welcome to Concacaf, Flo. It's going to be like that for your entire career here. Time for another break, but when we come back, we, of course, have to talk about the man, the myth, the legend, Atiba Hutchinson, the legacy that he leaves this program. For many, just about all of us agree, the greatest player to ever wear the crest for the men's national team. More when we return to Matchday Live.
This match is brought to you by CIBC, Canada Soccer's lead partner.
Thank you, Canada, for making dreams come true. We're with you all the way.
How do you go from the best to the ultimate without breaking the bank? You choose the big, bold, ultimate taste of ultimate chicken sausages and hot dogs. Choose ultimate taste and value, only from Maple Lodge Farms.
Gatorade, with electrolytes to help replenish what's lost in sweat, carbs to help fuel your working muscles, and fluids to help you hydrate. Scientifically formulated so you never stop competing.
I do this for my town, my time, my time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Rehydrate, replenish, refuel. Gatorade.
From Thomas Mayers again, but nobody picks up TJ Taheed. Eyes in towards the box, it bounces around, and it's redirected in.
Life's better with extra space. Space for family. Space for memories. Space for you. Try 4 weeks free. Access Storage, proud partner of Canada Soccer.
Well, he has been the face of the Canadian men's national team for literal decades now. Atiba Hutchinson on 104 caps, the only men's national team centurion. Some incredible names on that list, 15 more than Julian de Guzman on second. No one in Canada is ready to say goodbye to Atiba, but Atiba will tell us that he knew it was time to call it quits.
I've had a 20-year career, with a lot of great memories. I've had some down times as well, but it's been a career that I've been very happy with. And in my mind, for the last few months now, I've been really thinking about this as being my last. Obviously, I'm here now for these 2 games. Me and John have been speaking a little bit about what's to come after this with the Gold Cup. But I think it will be kind of hard to make it out to the Gold Cup because a lot of things going on, you know, with my family and my wife, who is soon to give birth. So this is, in my mind, this is my last games coming up for Canada. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
They've done it! Canada is going to the World Cup!
I think that's what's missing for this team now. Qualifying for a World Cup for the first time after 36 years, amazing. But we need to build off of that. And this is our next chance to, finally go out there and get a trophy, which we haven't done for a very long time. I don't remember the last time, 2000 in the Gold Cup, right? So, yeah, I think that's what's missing for us now, is to just get some silverware and to really be that team that is, a team that goes out there and wins competitions. It's in totality, yeah. I mean, I've said it in Turkey that, that would be the last club that I'm playing with. And yeah, now here with the national team, my last couple of games. So I'm ready. It's, as I said, been a long career, and kind of in the back of my mind, even to play this season, was a main part of it was because of the World Cup. I needed to stay fit, and my club in Turkey were very positive in keeping me on board. They could have easily said, no, we don't want to keep you, but they gave me that chance to play another year, and I'm grateful for that. And just for me to have a World Cup in my last season, and a chance now to play for a trophy is everything that I could have asked for and more. That's what I'm here for. I want to win a trophy. I want to be a part of this team. I love being part of this team. So for me, I'm just going to enjoy every moment, enjoy every session that I'm out there on the pitch with, with my brothers, and do my part as best as I can in pushing, that mentality, that winner's mentality. There's a few of us that are really focused on it, and as leaders, we kind of just have to bring that out onto the pitch and to the group. And yeah, like I said, have fun out there on the pitch, embrace this, and hopefully it all goes in the right way with a lot of hard work. You put in a lot of work over the years, and you try to really do the most you can for the country, and for them to show that appreciation for me, that support for me, that pushes me, a long, long way. It's helped me for years and years, and as I said, I when I have that kind of love, I always want to give back. So I'm very grateful that people have recognized what I've done for the country, and now, yeah, now it's just time for me to call it a day and watch these young guys take over. I know the country's in great hands. We have so much talent here in this group now, and a lot more around as well. So we have a lot of depth in this team, and I think we have a lot to play for. And as I said, the sky's the limit for this program, this country.
Thank you. Atiba is right. If there is one player you wish could play forever, especially of the Canadian variety, it would certainly be Atiba. Whether you've played with him, you've watched him, you've grown up with him, or you were just at the tail end of his career and learned a little bit about what he was able to do, he truly is an incredible human being. First, footballer second. We'll talk about legacy. That conversation can go on for years because he's worthy of that. But let's talk about the here and now, the today, Jordan. Especially when you think back of how close this team has come at times. Yes, 2000 was the last big one, but the 2007 semi-final and the chaos that was that as well. But to go out, getting the World Cup, winning a trophy, it seems like a Hollywood script.
Yeah, what a year it's been for him to cap off such a long career and all that he's achieved. And just being like Mr. Canada when it comes to football. Everyone knows Atiba, he's loved, he's revered. To know that you're going to retire, know that you're going to walk away from the game that you love, but to do it wearing the badge and to have a final at stake, it's a dream come true. Everyone is locked in for Atiba. This is extra motivation tonight. And I know the boys are going to show up for him in a big way.
Yeah, look, for me, when you're a footballer, you want to win as much as you can. Atiba's won at his domestic level now the only thing that he's missing is the international level. And every time you put that Canada jersey on, you want to win something, not only for yourself, but for the country. And this would be a wonderful moment to cap off his fantastic career in lifting a trophy here in Concacaf.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think that, look, there's been some lows for this program. I don't think it goes without saying that there has not been very many reasons to celebrate. And Atiba, for so much of it, was the one to pull everyone along, even when things weren't going well. And now that he's at the end, he's getting a piece of probably the golden generation of Canadian footballers, and they expect to go on and win a ton. But it just seems like for the servant that he has been to Canadian soccer, he's due. He's earned this for everything he's done on and off the pitch. I do want to talk a little bit about that 2000 Gold Cup semifinal. We do have some pictures to go along with it, Jimmy, but thinking about that game, and you get in those moments where you are so close. USA again, just what do you think of when these images flash across the screen here?
How bad I wanted to win and beat them.
Still sting?
Yeah, just a little. But look, these are the moments that you cherish, playing international football, competitive matches. This match here, yeah, we got robbed. It was ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. And that kind of summed up Concacaf back in that time. You know, it just felt like every time we stepped on the pitch, there was something against us. That call wasn't warranted. It was terrible. But I think where the game is today, where the game is in CONCACAF as well, with VAR, I think it's going to be a totally different game now, and it's purely going to just be about the football and not worrying about anything else and all the nonsense that used to come with these games.
And just thinking about what's at stake here for Canada, and obviously it's a trophy, but Jordan, I'm wondering what was special about seeing Canada qualify for the World Cup and what it would mean for you as someone who's played this game, grew up watching this team, not be able to do it. Tonight, what would it mean to see Atiba especially lift that trophy in about 2 hours' time?
It's what he deserves, and I think also as a nation, it's just a step in the right direction. Qualifying for the World Cup was something, honestly, I thought I'd never see. I thought maybe I'd be an older man to watch it. I'm still young, knees are still flexible, I'm still able to move. I thought I was going to be very old when I saw Canada qualify. They did it. I think next step is winning a trophy that they haven't done in 23 years. That's just a step in the right direction. It shows progression. People think the World Cup was a bust. It wasn't. It was just a step that they needed. Tonight is a night to put all that talk, all that negative talk to bed.
Well, it could be a huge leap forward tonight for Canada, and we don't have to posture for much longer about that script and what will happen because we are getting awfully close to kickoff. Time for one more break, though. When we come back, we will continue to march towards the opening whistles at Allegiant Stadium in Nevada. The Voyageurs are there. Of course the Voyageurs are there. They are ready to see a trophy lift, but the Outlaws and the Americans want to maintain the Nations League trophy that they hold. Matchday Live, brought to you by CIBC, continues.
Canada men's national team on One Soccer is brought to you by the Toyota Corolla family.
At Toyota, our lineup of electrified vehicles is always growing. We're evolving the ways we move so that every Canadian has a choice towards a more sustainable future. One that includes the all-new, all-electric Toyota VZ4X. Because every electrified vehicle we build at Toyota brings us all closer to a better future.
Degree 72-hour non-stop protection. Antiperspirant with motion sense. Tested to the limit. Degree keeps working when others stop.
Think you've seen tough? You've seen nothing. When you're absolutely drenched and still take the final shot? Not even a challenge. Playing extra time under the beating hot sun. Hardly sweating. When the wind's so chilling it cuts to the bone? Now we're getting somewhere. Playing in Canada's tough. We're not sorry about it. Want to beat us? Come on. We're made for this.
Thank you, Canada, for making dreams come true. We're with you all the way.
Allstate and its 900 agents proudly support Canadian soccer at every level. Visit allstate.com.
CanMNT.ca.
Kickoff is just around the corner inside Allegiant Stadium in Viva Las Vegas. It's Canada versus the United States in the Concacaf Nations League final. Andy and KJ still pitch side. I want to walk down memory lane just a little bit because we keep talking about Canada. It's been 23 years since they last won a trophy. Yes, it was the 2000 Gold Cup. They were ranked 85th in the world. They were in a group with Costa Rica and South Korea. All three countries played to 2 draws. Costa Rica went through on goals scored. Canada went through because tails never fails. That's right. It was a coin toss that sent Canada through to the quarterfinals where they beat Mexico, beat Trinidad and Tobago in the semifinal, and then it was a 2-0 victory over Colombia. Carlo Corazin, Jason DeVos, your goal scorers, and the goalkeeper Craig Forrest was tournament MVP. What was the storyline then compared to now?
Well, that was a really special moment for that group of players, and they'll be forever remembered for that, and they should be. But at the end of the day, the substance afterwards was not there for lots of reasons, right? This now is the continuation of success for Canada. It's coming off making a World Cup, something that a lot of people dreamed of and took 36 years. And now this is a consistent performance over time within the region where there's now an expectation, not just amongst us, but other people talking to Mexican media, they're telling me Canada are going to win this game. That there's no longer a surprise when you see Canada win. That in 2000 was a remarkable performance, but it was a surprise. It's not a surprise anymore that Canada are here and playing in a game like this. And for me, why not now? Why not now is the message. Why not now? Why not win this? Been waiting a long time for this. They've been trampled on for decades by the United States. Why not now get out there and deliver?
What needs to go right for Canada?
Well, I think they've got to protect the defense. That's very, very important. I think that's really important. Ultimately, that's still their weak link for me. And they've got to get the space out wide. You know, ultimately they've got the pace there. If they can get Larea and Davies getting in those areas and pinning them fullbacks back, what Canada has that the United States don't have is they have stone cold killers in the box. You know, they got David and they got Laren in terrific form. And if you can get Eustachio spraying those long diagonal balls the way he was doing against Panama, they've got the chance to win those flanks and get those balls in the box. It might just take one touch and you can win a game. That's how you win finals, 1-0 a lot of the time. And that's the key for me now with this team, is that feed those players up front and let them win the game for you.
The last few years have been a heck of a ride with this Canadian men's national team. Let's see if they can get a fairy tale ending. It all starts now. Back to you in studio.
Andy and KJ, thank you. Enjoy the match. We'll, of course, be hearing plenty from the two of you later on this evening. Jordo, KJ just touched on it, about what it takes for Canada to win. And what I think is most important about tonight is we have seen the women's national team win in the biggest moments on the biggest stage, show that nerves of steel, that Canada can do it on the world stage. This men's national team hasn't done it. They need to know, they need to learn how to win. So in this match, how do they win against the United States of America, who not only have this trophy, but the Gold Cup as well right now?
Yeah, Christian Jack touched on it tactically. I think today's going to be a day for the U.S. I think they're great as well on the flanks, but like to play in behind. I think Canada, that's their strength as well, the pace, the athleticism that this team has. But all in all, when you're playing in a final, I've never played in a final of this magnitude, but when it's a one game, 90 minutes, maybe extra time, it's all about staying present and understanding moments. That's the biggest thing. Yes, every game's about that, but specifically a finals. Because there's going to be times tonight where Canada needs to roll up their sleeves, get 11 behind the ball, and defend with their lives. And there are going to be times where the U.S. go forward, and there's going to be space in behind where Canada can attack with Davies, with Larea, with Laren, with David, whoever it might be, and they need to take those moments and take those opportunities to punish and to capitalize. So tonight is all about managing those moments and recognizing when is the time to accept the pressure and when is the time to go out and kill.
Well, the pictures are absolutely incredible going on in Las Vegas. That $2 billion dome with the Las Vegas Strip in the background. I'm curious what you remember from the Canada-USA match in Hamilton. Obviously, very different to Las Vegas. It was a frigid day in Hamilton, the Atakubi goal. And as a player that was involved in that game, are you replaying that for a little bit of we can do this, we've done this, or are you trying to stay so focused on the new team, this particular match, this environment?
I think you feel Confident. I think a particular player that might feel confident is Johnston. I think with Pulisic, I think he's gotten the better of him. I don't want to jinx him tonight, but I think he's gotten the better of Pulisic before, getting on him early, getting to making sure that the game's difficult for him. I think with Canada, those individual matchups are the key. It's the bread and butter for success tonight. Is for David pressing center backs, Lareya winning those battles on the flank, whoever it might be with. I think that's what it is. That's what the game is really comprised of, is those 11v11 battles, but they're really 1v1 all over the pitch. Canada can do that. They'll be in a position to win this match today.
Crazy to think that Andy and KJ got to center pitch so quickly to join in on this dance troupe. It's pretty impressive, isn't it?
I saw someone break dance, and I thought it was Andy for a second. Definitely not KJ. I don't think that he's as limber. I don't think he can do that.
I've seen KJ move. He's got some hips, that guy. I want to ask you about this moment in particular. These guys are about to take to the field any moment now. They can hear it. They can smell the fire, the pyro, everything. What was your routine as you were standing in line for the tunnel, getting ready to come out? And no disrespect, this is obviously probably for many of these guys one of the biggest moments of their lives, but these players are superstitious, the routine guys. What was your routine?
Yeah, no disrespect needed. This is a huge and monumental game. And big games that I've played in, whether it be promotion or relegation match, it's really about starting well, but my routine is remembering what I need to do. It might just be 3 things. That's what I would go on with, whether it's a prayer, whatever you need to do, you get going. And you want to start every match similar. So I think these boys are ready. They know their routine. They know it's at stake.
Canada, here they come for the Nations League final against their biggest rival, Canada and the United States. Jordan and I will see you at halftime. Gareth Wheeler has the call in English with Jimmy Brennan. Matt Cullen has the call in French. Enjoy the first 45, Canada. What a special night this could be.
Please rise, if you are able, for the singing of the national anthem of Canada. Please remain standing if you are able for the singing of the national anthem of the United States of America.
Welcome to the main event. Canada and the United States, it's always something special, and tonight we expect no different. The main stage set for the 2023 Concacaf Nations League Final. Under the bright lights of Las Vegas, a champion to be crowned, a budding rivalry renewed, and a final act for a true Canadian great. For Canada in their first final since the year 2000, 3 changes from Thursday's